guys, I'm Melissa from Junebug Photography, and I wanted to show you how I um, made my snow overlay. Oh my goodness, it is like the witching hour. It's 5:15 in my household. My kids are watching TV right now, and I am brain dead. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna pick. So this is what my images started like. So it started to snow. I live in Seattle. This doesn't happen much, so I just about pissed myself, got really excited, ran outside, confused my son while I'm running outside with a sheet and thumbtacking it to the fence. He thought I was crazy, which I mean I am. So here we go. This you can see in this photo. I literally ran outside with a sheet that clearly hasn't been used in a really long time because it's got fold marks all over it, but. And I thumbtacked it tight. Now notice I didn't thumbtack it tight enough, and this caused me some problems. So if you're going to do this, I recommend pulling the corners even more taut so that you don't get snow landing on your sheet, because I had to then go fix all of those in post, which wasn't a big deal, but there's the deal. So I was inside. I don't like being cold, so I thumbtacked this up and then ran back inside, and I was inside at a window directly across from the sheet. I planned this out so I didn't have to freeze. So I was probably about 12 feet away from the fence. I was shooting with my 24-70, I think. Let's see. I think this image I was at 3.5. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to show you what I did to take this image and turn it into an overlay that can be used like I showed you before. So this is sort of the interim. This is in between after taking it into Adobe Camera Raw. And you can see where I left that wrinkle there, and it caused highlights to be there, and you can see the highlights on the wood as well here, and the highlights coming through the fence here, and those are all things that I just fixed in post. No big deal. So I'm going to show you how I did it. So this is actually the worst one, which I didn't actually even use. So I'm going to take one of these into Adobe Camera Raw, and we're going to reset those settings. So I'm going to this will go reset Camera Raw defaults. Give us a second. Okay, so this is what I started with. And nothing spectacular, right? The settings should be really similar whether you're using Lightroom, Adobe Camera Raw, and I'm actually just I made a preset for it. I'll show you what I did, and I'll show you those actual settings in the video, but instead of you like sitting here while I'm walking through the entire thing, I feel like that would be kind of boring. So let's see what I called it. I gotta remember. I think, oh, here we go. So this is going to just do everything, but I'll walk through the different panels to show you what I did. So here we go. Basic. I wouldn't worry about white balance too much. We're going to convert to grayscale, but it's never a bad idea to start making sure your white balance is good. Exposure, I pulled down the exposure a bit from where I was at. I didn't mess with the contrast, but now that I'm looking at that, I easily could have and gotten some of these similar results. I pulled the highlights all the way up, pulled some shadows out, or created more shadows, excuse me. So as you can see, this isn't going to make a huge difference, but it kind of gets rid of some of those residual highlights there. So pull some of those out. I don't want to pull out too many. I'll take the rest out in post. I upped my whites, and then you can see here with blacks where well, it's hard to tell because I have grayscale, but I pulled my blacks down a ton to get rid of those residual highlights, because those we don't need. Those aren't the snow. Those are the sheet and the light falling on the sheet that looked like snow, and that we don't need that. So in doing so, we didn't really get rid of any of the snowflakes or many of the snowflakes, and we are starting to isolate just those flakes. Let's see. Okay, so then here we go. I played with my tone curve. Notice I just grabbed and pulled down. Grab the bottom corner and just pulled down. I just want those, I want those blacks, black. I did a little bit of sharpening. So then I converted to grayscale. This one for me was made my life a lot easier in that I didn't have to mess with any of those colors that were coming through. I converted with grayscale, and then I was able to just in Photoshop paint with a black brush to cover up those highlights that are not snow. And I also did enable lens correction, so not a big difference, but it actually, I mean, it's actually bringing out some more of those highlights here. Whoops. Which I don't necessarily want because it's taking out my vignette, but I kind of like that it got rid of that tunnel vision that I had a little bit from my lens. So here we go. I think that's all I did. So this is what I then opened up into Photoshop. So we're going to do that. So we've got snow, but now we have to fix some of these issues. Like this is not going to work on everyone's image. Not everyone's image has a wrinkle for the snow to fall on. And I'm going to touch up so you can see the grain of the woods, the highlight on the grain of the fence, and the highlights here coming through from the back of the fence. And I don't even, I think that's the tag of the sheet. So we're going to get rid of those things, and we'll do that in Photoshop. So we're going to open this up in Photoshop. And crap, I don't think I said open up in Photoshop. I think I said done. So we're going to do that again. We're going to say open image. I don't want to do this video over again. So the reason it didn't open in Photoshop was because I said done and not open image. All right, so here we go. Here's my image. I'm going to do a couple things before painting with my black brush. I'm going to, we're going to go image adjustments, and I'm going to do a little bit of a threshold here because I want to get rid of some of these that look, it looks like I could probably pretty easily get rid of some of those issues that were there. Now notice, let's see a preview here. I don't know if I love that. I feel like that's making it a little too stark. So let's pull back a bit. Let's see. You know, I'm not going to do that. All right, so we're going to now go, we're just going to paint over this stuff that is not snow. So let's go, we're going to want a black brush. So you can just select in this area, or you can select black. And I'm literally painting over the highlights that are not snow. You can also paint over any pieces of snow that you don't like or that look weird, or you can also clone in some extra snow if you want a bigger flurry. There's a lot you can do here. You know, this can kind of be your creative process right here, but I'm going to just go real simple and just literally like paint out those weird highlights that don't belong there. This is going to take me a little bit, so maybe if I can figure out afterwards how to fast forward, or maybe I won't actually do it all. You guys get the idea, right? Like this isn't, you guys get this stuff. So I'll show you the final image when I'm all done. So this is all there is to it. So then I'll get rid of all these funky highlights that are not snow and we don't want showing up in our image when we use it as an overlay. And when I'm all done, I'm just going to save it as a JPEG. So then, and then I'll use that JPEG as an overlay in my images. And you can watch my other video to see how to actually use the overlay on an actual image. It's really super duper easy and kind of fun to play with. So we'll get to that, and I'm just kind of like doing my thing. Okay. And I'm almost done. Let's just power through, huh? I'm a little OCD, aren't I? It's not good. All right, so and again, it doesn't have to be perfect, especially with these kind of light tracer highlights, just because you're going to be using the layer as screen, and so you're not going to see some of those lighter highlights much, if at all, anyway. But it's not a bad idea to get it kind of just the way you want it, and then you don't have to mess with it in every image that you use it for. Does that make sense? Like get your master copy just the way you want it, and then It's easy peasy screaming through editing as you're adding these. Now, something to note, if you're using these for like I'm going to use them for editing mini sessions and doing snow overlays, it's a good idea to mix it up a bit. You can flip it, you can reverse it, you can add a couple, you can clone it, but if you use the very same overlay on every single image, people might start to pick up on the patterns of the snow. Now this is pretty random because it was real snow, but that is something that people might notice and kind of diminish some of the magic of the snow overlay. So keep that in mind. I've got a couple different overlays that you could use. You can mess around, you can combine them, you can play. I'd love to see what you come up with. I want to see if you guys make your own. If it snows where you are. I got really lucky today. It doesn't snow very often in Seattle where I am, so I got pretty stoked. And this is what I've been doing all day instead of real work. So hope you enjoyed it. I've had a lot of fun with it. All right, so here we go. And then I just save it and be done. Easy peasy. So there we go. Again, I'm Melissa from Junebug Photography. I've had fun making these videos. This is kind of my first run at this, so I'd love to hear if you liked it.